Anyway, welcome to what we call it, Plan Showing Thursday. Every Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern time, we talk about different aspects of plan showing, strategies of showing the plan, strategies of exposing the business model, maybe how to show the plan. A lot of times in the past that you guys can go, and if you can go to youtube.com/Don Martin Live, which is a YouTube channel that I have, and you look at the playlist, you'll see the virtual interactive playlist. That's all of these Zooms that were the best ones that we had, all in that playlist. There's 30 something of them there, and you'll see all kinds of different things that we've done on how to show the plan Thursday, team building Tuesday, wellness Wednesday, Monday, fund day, motives Monday, and fresh face Friday, right? You'll see all those type of things in different categories to learn from about the business. But
Don, that was YouTube what?
youtube.com/Don Martin Live. And then under the playlist, you'll see the virtual interactive playlist, which is all the best of the last 4 months, essentially, of these calendar trainings that we've done. And you can go and rewatch the good ones anytime you want. We don't load them all because there's only so much space, and we want to overwhelm anybody with all kinds of content. But there's some really good ones on there. There's about 30 something there now. And this one's definitely going to go on there because this one's important. So, and that's what Thursday is all about, is learning how to expose the business and learn how to show the business plan. Now, I will tell you, this is the challenge that people have. And we're gonna fix and we're gonna resolve a challenge by the strategy we're gonna teach tonight. This strategy that I'm gonna teach you is something that I've used for over 20 years building the business. In real life though, we figured out a way to use virtual to bridge the gap recently, and it is awesome. And we're gonna challenge each and every one of you to do this, no matter how long you've been with us, to do this. And the strategy we're going to talk about. But let's talk about the challenge, right, that happens. How many of you agree that sometimes when people first get started and you're brand new, you don't know how to explain the business yet? Doesn't that make sense? Everybody, right? You don't know. You saw it explained. The business is not complicated, but it does have a lot of simple concepts that stack on top of each other that can make it a little difficult to explain when you first start. So that's true, right? The second thing about that, and that's the first challenge. No one really knows how to present it properly when they first start. Here's the second challenge. All your friends, family, and relatives that could be good sources for you of recommendations. We don't want to go out and try to get our friends, family, and relatives in at all. But we want them to know what we're doing because they could be really good sources of what? Referrals. They can recommend consumers, customers, and maybe partners to us, right? But here's the thing I know, if your family and friends are anything like my family and friends, if I go to explain something to them, familiarity breeds contempt. How many people agree with that? People that know you aren't going to listen to you, right? Even if, no matter how smart you are, it's just like, so it's a difficult scenario sometimes. If you want to get the people that should support you most to look at something, they might be a little extra skeptical, and they're also going to look at it through a different shaded glasses of skepticism because it's you and they've known you your whole life. And they remember when you were throwing snowballs at cars and got in trouble when you were 11 years old, and they still think you're the same punk kid or whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? Right? It's just like, there's so much baggage there. So that's the second challenge that people have. It's harder to get the people around you that should be your best resources, right, to support and evaluate what you're doing, right? Because they're not going to listen to you, right? Very rarely. So that's the second challenge. The third challenge is this. When people first getting started in the business, how many people want to get activated right away? The first personally sponsored, you want your 2 people right away, right? You want your two people right away. Because as soon as you get your 2 activations, you're instantly eligible to earn bonus checks, not just retail profit, which you get right away, but bonus checks, right? So sometimes it takes people longer than they need to become activated, right? Because we don't launch the business fast. The faster you launch, the more momentum you have, and the quicker you get activated. So that's a third challenge. So this situation, and by the way, the fourth thing, right, is credibility comes from small groups. So another challenge is if you sit down with people one at a time, just individually one at a time, you can give them extra attention. But when you have a small group, they don't see as much credibility because it's just you and them and maybe a third party, right? So sometimes it's hard for them to see the credibility of what we do because it's only you and one or two other people that are there. And that's the fourth thing that can be a challenge when you get started. So this is the solution. The solution to those challenges, plus many, many more, is called virtual business launches. Virtual business kickoffs. Now, for 20 years plus, me building this business to the millions of dollars in earnings, right? One of the most important things I did was I did what I called home kickoffs, home business launches, right? Where when, say, Gina got started, right? Or, whoever got started that lived in and around me, right? Sharon Stager got started, whatever. I did a home business kickoff. What that was is this. Guys, what it is, it's a grand opening event for your home business. That's what it is. It's a grand opening. So what we would do is we would schedule a date, typically within the first week or so that they're in the business, like right away, within the first week and a half at the longest, and say, we're going to do a home business kickoff about the business. And we're also going to do a home business launch about whatever product that you're most excited and passionate about sharing. So two different ones. One to talk about the product that you're excited most about. One to talk about the business. And we're going to set 2 dates for those. And we want to do them within the first week or two, right? And the reason why we haven't done those lately, because we can't do stuff in homes right now safely, or most people aren't comfortable enough to do it, right? So we've been just doing one-on-one, two-on-one, and small little Zoom meetings. But I realized something recently, that we can do these through Zoom. And we have done some for individual people through Zoom that have worked out well like this. But now we want to scale it out across the whole entire organization. Because here's the thing, guys. It's going to be months again until we're back to somewhat normal. Months. We don't know how many months. It's going to be months, right? So we want to make sure we can institute this strategy that absolutely can skyrocket people's success. I know Darwin's been doing some with Eva Wan's group, like with your people. I mean, we're doing some of this stuff, but I want to blanket the organization with these, so have everybody do them because of what they do. And it's called a home business launch. What we normally would do is we would schedule a time in the next week and a half to come to your home. And then you would call everybody that you know, that as many as you can, 20, 30, 40 people, because they won't all show, and say, well, you come. I started a business. I'm having a home business kickoff to explain to people what it is I do and how it works. So when you leave my house that night, you will know how to recommend people to me when they need what I have, when the time comes, right? And that's all it was. I like to come evaluate it. I want to get the word out. You may see something of interest to you. You may not. I'm fine with it either way. I just like to evaluate what I'm doing and attend my home kickoff event or home business launch event so you can understand what I do. So when you leave, you're comfortable and understand enough to send business my way when the time comes. That's what it is. And we would go and we would sit down and we would show the business model and say, hey, Eva and Juan are looking for some new partners to come on board with the business and maybe some customers too. Here's a little bit about when we show the business plan. Here's a little about the business, the products, and this is how the business works. So they understand what we not only are, but more importantly, they see what we're not. We overcome those preconceived notions for all your close people so they don't assume you're in some kind of deal, scheme, whatever. They see what makes it different. They see it's real, it's viable, and it's credible. So we overcome that objection, but most importantly, we plant those seeds in all their minds so they know how to either recommend somebody, or if the right person shows up that's entrepreneurial, they might say, wow, Eva, I might want to do this with you. And they did it by accident. I didn't try to get them. I didn't try to twist their arm. I just asked them to evaluate and support me for my home business kickoff, and look what happened, right? So that's what we would do. And then right after that business one, typically within a week, we do a product one. So we would do, like, say, a Wellness 101 event where people would come on over. We would sample out the daily essentials, right, products, maybe sample out some aloe, have 4 or 5 different samples to have people try, but then we would watch the video called the Wellness 101 video. so people can see learn about the Wellness 101 video and the products behind it, and create you a customer base at the same time by either the people who come evaluating, they try the product, they give you referrals, but many of them will probably want to get the product themselves because of how powerful our product are. Now, all of a sudden, in a week or two, like in the business, you have what? A handful of people that's all the business. And if you do the home launch event correctly, guess what? You're activated. It's called mission activation. And that's how it works. And then you also have 5, 10 customers. We want people to be profitable the month that they start. And this is the fastest and best way to do it. But since COVID and all the crazy stuff happened, we haven't been able to do home business kickoffs. So we have done some virtual launches, but we want to systemize it again and spread it out through everybody. And that's what we want everybody to do. So I want you guys to write this down and talk to a senior partner in the next week or so, right? Do yourself scheduled one event for a home business kickoff launch, virtual, and one event in the week or two after that for a business launch event around the product. Now, you can do whichever you feel most comfortable first and second. You don't have to do business first, product second. You can do product first and business second. In fact, sometimes the most natural way is a product first. But it all depends on what's intriguing you most. Like when I did it, I did the business stuff, right? Why? Because that's what intrigued me. But with Lisa, she was all about the product. She led with the product. Everybody has something they'll be more attracted to than others. It doesn't matter. Just decide to host both and find a senior partner that can be your presenter for both of them. You don't want to present to your own people is the point. You want a third party there. Does that make sense, everybody? That's what you want. You want a third party to do it for you because they'll bring the little extra credibility. So you schedule the date and then you start inviting. Now, when you invite, it's very important to realize that you're inviting them live, in person, on a phone call. Don't send mass emails. Don't send mass texts. And don't send mass Facebook messages. They don't work. They'll blow them off and they won't come. They don't, people can tell if they're being mass communicated with. What you can do is you want to call and reach out to each person directly and ask them for their support. I'm having a home business launch event. I'm having a business launch event at my home, but I'm doing it virtually right now so people can see what I'm doing. I found myself in a unique situation to really grow a successful business right now while helping a ton of people in a challenging time that they all need. I'd like you to just get on a Zoom with me for about 45 minutes to an hour and learn about what I do and how it works so that you know how to recommend people to me when the time is right, when the time comes, when the opportunity shows itself. Would you support me and evaluate what it is that I'm doing? Yes, and most people will. As long as you're not trying to get them, as long as you say, man, you would be awesome at this, you might want to do this yourself, and then all of a sudden they won't come. You know why? Because they don't want to be sold something, or they don't want to hurt your feelings, right? And say no after they see it, so they just don't come anyway because they don't want to be put in an awkward situation to have to say no to you, because they'll assume we're something we're not or whatever. You just want them to get on and evaluate it because you want to get the word out. You're simply planting seeds. And what's cool about this is it eliminates all those challenges earlier. It helps you what? Get people exposed in front of the business faster. You don't have to do the presentation. You have somebody who'll do it for you. You're just asking people to evaluate. And also, it's in a small group. A small group of people, like you would have me, and let's say it's Cassandra and Dennis, and 4 to 5 other people max. You can do as many of these as you want. I would invite 8 to 10 because some won't show, but you want to try to keep it around 4 to 5 people, because then we can communicate and interact. Now, if it gets a little bit more with that than that, that's fine, but we want to get them on. Here's some tips to this, by the way. When you invite them on, you're going to edify the person presenting. I'm really excited for you to learn from this guy. He's pretty smart. Or I'm really excited for you to learn from Gina. She now is full-time with the business. She evolved out of her full-time career. Now this is what she does. And she's great. She knows her stuff. Edify the speaker. And most importantly, let them know that when they get on the Zoom, their audio and video must be on because it's interactive and we communicate. Don't have them get on mute and no speaker on, no video on. Here's why. I need to be able to look at the people's faces that are watching and evaluating and make sure they understand what I'm talking about. And I also need them to be interactive with me so we know they're paying attention. Not because we're trying to get them, but simply because they will, if they pay half attention, you guys know what happens. They pay half attention, they kind of watch, they look away, they're 3-year-old or 4-year-old, right, Cassandra? They're like, distracts them, they get their attention, they look away, then all of a sudden they look at the screen and they see a flow chart and they're like, oh no, it's a pyramid thing, but they didn't hear everything up to that point because they were distracted and we didn't know it, right? Because we weren't talking with them. It was just, and by the way, it's the most uncomfortable, awkward way to present, talking to a blank screen and have nobody looking back at you. It's very awkward. I hate it, right? In fact, I won't do it. If somebody gets on and they don't put their video on for a business plan presentation, first look or product event, I don't let them stay on. You know, I say, Bill, we can't hear you. Oh, you know, I'm not paying. I don't see you, Bill. Bill, where are you, bro? I don't know what's going on. Oh, man, Bill, I guess the technology. I cut them out. Because I know it does, nothing good will come from them watching a little bit, not paying attention, being distracted, and then having preconceived notions because they didn't understand what made us different. That's our number one thing we need to do. Show people what makes us different and then show them how we work so they're comfortable to recommend us people because we showed them that we're different. But I'm so proud of Gina because Gina had somebody that got on. It was actually with one of Claudette's people. Remember Claudette? Yeah, Gina was like, I need to see you. She's like, you don't want to see me? She's like, just get it on. I can't do it without you. Well, listen, we need to reschedule then. And she's like, just show it to me. I'm paying attention. We need to reschedule. We need to be able to talk. This is a business meeting, guys. And I can't devalue this business by halfway doing a meeting where I can't see somebody I'm supposed to be communicating with. Everybody get that? So that's key to this whole thing. And don't be non-negotiable with that. I've had people say, well, Don, my camera doesn't work. All right, we're just going to have to meet up in person then. I will not do it. It's so funny how a lot of y'all put your video on since it started. Oh, boom, 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 boom. But you understand what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. Another thing is I want to have another one or two successful franchise owners on those meetings too, because at the end of the meeting, I'm going to go around. I'm going to introduce, saying, hey, by the way, you know, thank you for being on and evaluating this for Cassandra and Dennis. We appreciate you being on. Thanks for evaluating. We're hoping some people rolled around in the back of your mind here that might be a good fit for this. We're really excited. We're changing lives. This is pretty great. What I'd like to do before we, get some feedback and see if you guys have any questions is just want to answer. I'm going to introduce you to a couple of the partners that we have that are in business with us here that have done pretty well. Sharon, can you tell everybody your background and what this has done for you so far? And then Dr. Sharon, boom, boom. She goes to, I'm a nurse practitioner, boom, 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 boom. Wow, that brought more credibility. Hey, Gina, can you tell what it did for you? Boom, boom. All right, now they see it's not just this bald-headed dude and his buddy Dennis that grew up together, but it's 3 or 4 other people that all have had success and experience from different walks of life in different areas. It just brings extra credibility to the whole process. Does that make sense, everybody? Right? And here's another great part about this. That's where you also can introduce the trial size marketing we learned about on Tuesday. Because every single guest, you can say, would you mind taking a product pack of our daily essentials, 3 product packs of our daily essentials, and then filling out a survey after trying it for 3 days and give us some feedback on what you thought about that product. Now, all of a sudden, they got experience with the product and they do it, and now they see it, and they, and go from there. So, man, it's just such a powerful thing. But all this starts because we have what? The ability of all of us collectively, right, to be here together, have some people on and evaluate, non-invasive, just nice and casual, so that they know now how to refer people back to us, right? And they understand it. But here's the magic of this. When the right person sees it, they will volunteer themselves if they're entrepreneurial and they weren't chased down at all. In fact, I call this reverse recruiting because I'm not trying to recruit anybody. I'm just trying to plant a seed so they know what we do. But when the right person sees it, they will beg you to bring them on because they'll see what makes it different and realize how powerful this could be for them. But I didn't try that to happen. I just put it out there and let them decide for themselves. I don't want to go out and try to sell anybody. I want them to see it because the right people will volunteer when they see the right thing. The wrong people won't, and that's okay. I don't want anybody ever to feel pressure. I just want them to see it, understand it, and be willing to recommend me people. And if they're right, they'll let us know. And that's how that happens. So that's what we do, guys. And that's what it's all about. The most important part is it allows you to get small groups of people together, bring extra credibility, have a launch event, like a grand opening, so it has a title and experience to it. And you could say, hey, I'm doing more than that because I only want to have 5 or 6 people on it because I need them to understand it all. And then you could do 2 or 3 or 4, however many in a row, until I want to get people to, it depends on what your goals are and how fast you want to grow. And if you want to hit 6 figures and get yourself 8 personally sponsors, right? Or whatever you want to do. You have all the different strategies when we build your action plan on what you need to do individually to get what your goal is. But man, when people see that and they can meet some of the other successful people you have, and you do it in a small group format, even though it's nothing will ever be as good as doing it in person. I'm just going to let you guys know right now. But these virtual events will bridge the gap until we can do that again. And they're very effective. I know we've been doing them, right? We just haven't installed them across everybody because we were just figuring out the best ways to do them most effectively. It's time for everybody to do them because I'm telling you, it's mission activation, and you'll get yourself activated. You'll identify the right people, but you'll also get credibility through your warm market because you have great people that know what they're doing. And that's really what it's all about. So any other points that we need to make for some of you guys that the more seasoned with us, Gina, Darwin, Dr. Sharon, like some of you guys, when it comes down to this, anything else we should add into this?
Yeah, just one of the things that I want to talk about, because it's something I'm working on, is the call before the Zoom. So, getting people to commit is on you. Like if you're scheduling the Zoom and they said they're going to be on something, if we were doing it in person, we would always say, hey, look, I'm looking forward to meeting you such and such time. That's still very much in play today. If you're doing a Zoom and you've invited several people on there, make sure the day of, a few hours before, you're calling them or texting them. I would say call them and just say, look, man, I'm excited for tonight. If it's Eva and Juan, one of the things that I really want to do is I want to get the names and numbers of the people that they've invited and call them and say, look, Eva and Juan said they invited you tonight. I'm really looking forward to having you on there tonight. And it kind of solidifies the importance of them. Not so much you, but it shows them the importance that you're placing on them to being on this call. Yeah. And it kind of reiterates. I mean, Zooms are totally different because they're so it's so easy for people just to wave them off.
Right.
But if you show, especially as the speaker, if you show, and I got to get good at this because I'm like, there are certain times when we have these Zooms and nobody gets on them. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Well, the missing link is I need to be calling the people for my people.
Yeah. And what my favorite way to do that's a great point, Darwin. What I love to do, and a lot of times I'll do it not just for, but with them, right? So like we'll get on a call, like just say I'm doing it with Cassandra and Dennis, right? And they have 5 people that are confirmed for Tuesday or whatever, right? So I would get on the phone and say, Dennis, you got 2, and Cassandra has 3. Let's just give these guys a quick call together and thank them for being willing to get on. So Dennis and I can call them. I can call them and say, hey, my name's Don. Hey, Bill, this is Don. I don't know if we haven't met before, but Dennis is a mutual friend of ours. He told me that you were one of the ones that was coming to the presentation I'm doing Tuesday night. First of all, I want to thank you for being willing to support him. I appreciate it. And I know he does tremendously. We're excited to be able to help him, establish himself and really grow this business in this crazy day and age. And I just want to really thank you for being on and appreciate your willingness to support him. And I also wanted you to meet me here so it wasn't uncomfortable for you to get on something with some stranger. Now we're not strangers, bro. So thanks for, I'll just say something like that and make them lighthearted so there's less of a chance for them to blow it off, right? And then we do that together. Always remember that, guys. It's smart to do that with your people. Or you can have Dennis make the call. Dennis says, hey, Bill, I'm just calling. want to thank you again for being willing to get on Wednesday night. But before we do that, I have my friend Don on the phone. That's the one who's going to be the presenter. I just wanted to introduce you to him, just so it's not the first time you meet him. And you can see he's kind of cool, so you don't got to be a little fearful to get on or whatever. Hey, nice to meet you. And I'll take it over from there. So you can do it either way you want. In fact, that second one is, to me, the most comfortable way, because it's comfortable for everybody. And I'm just thanking them. Hey, thanks for supporting Dennis. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to see your face and say hello and meet. Most importantly, just to have you understand what it is that they're doing and how it works, so you can comfortably recommend business when the time comes to them, and help them grow, but while helping other people that we can help with our business too. So I'm looking forward to chatting with you, and we just wanted to confirm, because we have limited space. We can only have up to 4 or 5 people. So we just want to confirm you're definitely going to be on. Something like that. Really simple, to the point. So great point, Darwin. Anything else y'all want to add to that?
I just wanted to say too, to leverage your team and the organization that you have, because like Claudette and I did a launch for her new partner's daughter, who is an apprentice in the apprentice program with Motives. And even though I'm in the beauty industry, I'm not a makeup artist. So we have these events, the Beauty Basics event we did, which is we're showcasing the top 10 products and Motives. So I caught on, and this is the advantage of the Zoom. There are a lot of disadvantages, and it can be difficult because, like Don said, there's nothing that takes the place of being there in person. But the advantage to this is that I called my partner, Dawn, who's in California, who is a professional makeup artist. And I asked her if she would be willing to get on with us and to make it more interactive and more exciting for the guests. If, as I'm talking about the products and introducing the products, would she have her daughter, her teenage daughter, because the girls, the girl we were doing the launch for was a teenager, and use her as a model, and then would she show how to apply the products to her model? And she was totally willing to do that. And she had so much fun doing it, and it was so effective. And she said, let me know if you guys need me to do that, if anybody else needs me to do that for them, if they want to do an event like that. So I would just say, remember that even if you're not a professional makeup artist, but you have somebody that wants to do a launch with Motives, to reach out and to ask for help, and we can help make it exciting and interactive.
Okay,
that way.
That's a good thing. And by the way, with so good, Gina. And with the products, by the way, guys, the same thing with product. You do a launch event about the product. Hey, I'm doing a launch event about the product that I'm offering now, and I want you just to learn about it, understand its benefits, so when you come across the right people that could benefit from it, you can comfortably send them my way. And you do the same thing with a product launch event, and you could give them some little tips about cosmetics or skincare, weight loss, or whatever it might be. Now, there's one more thing I want to share and then wrap this up, and then maybe do a little Q&A if you guys would like. But this is the last part. Another thing that does this is this creates inertia and momentum. Okay, things in motion tend to stay in motion, and it creates momentum. So because you get people started, right, and you want to get them moving quickly, when you schedule a home event, never let them say, well, let me see who's available before I decide my time. No, schedule a time. Whoever's available at that time can come. But here's the thing. A lot of people won't be able to come at that time. That's okay. They're going to be calling them all anyway. So they say, hey, I'm having a home business launch event this night and this night. Oh, I'm not available those nights. Okay, great. When are you? We'll do it one-on-one or two-on-one. See, what it does is it starts the process of inviting a lot of people so they can get their 5 to 10 people confirmed to come to each of the 2 sessions. But the ones that can't, we can set up separate 2-on-ones, because they're just, listen, 2-on-ones is just about as impactful. There's certain things that don't create as much momentum because they're one at a time. They're great. These are a great way to create the momentum early with these smaller group events. But when they're calling people, now the people will actually say, oh, wow, I can't make it. And you say, that's fine. I understand. I still want you to see it. When's the best time we can sit down and I can share it to you directly with me and one of my partners, just get you over with. Doesn't have to be at the event. We'll do it separately then if you can't do it at that time. and you book those one-on-ones and two-on-ones. You understand? So it helps get that momentum. Here's the last point. That is, when you schedule people, you're going to get people that say, yes, 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 I'll be there. And then you are not going to be the only person on earth that are going to have people last minute cancel and not show. That happens for everyone. That is part of this process. You know, it'll happen for everybody. Even if you confirm, you'll last minute have somebody text you and say, oh, it seems like they always text. Oh, something came up. I had a family emergency. I can't get on. Or they always call. Something came up. I'm running behind. I'm not be able to make it. This is how I respond to that. Listen closely, right? Oh, Pat, man, I'm so disappointed. I was really looking forward to see it. Well, you know what? Actually, now that I think of it, Pat, so listen, I just take it and I say, actually, you know what, Pat? You're probably the type of person who really needs to see this directly one-on-one. So it's probably better that way anyway. When can we talk directly, and I'll share it with you then. Since you can't make tonight, what's a good time that we can do it? Just the two of us, maybe with one of my partners, to answer questions when you have it. Because I need you to see it regardless of whether you can make it tonight or not. So always take that cancellation and use that as a what? You book them into the follow-up to see it to another time. See it anyway. Again, I'm not making them do it. I'm not selling them to get in. But I need everybody I know to see what I'm doing and understand it so they know how to recommend people. Whether it's for them or not, I'm not concerned. But I need
text them. Do you text them, Don, or do you call them directly?
People as much as I can.
Yeah, okay.
As much as I can, I do the talk thing. Now, sometimes you have a choice but the text because that's the world we're kind of in. But that's my last resort. I want to communicate with people as much as possible because, listen, when someone texts me, it tells me it's not that important. But when someone calls me, it tells me it's important. Our success in our business, especially today, is more important. It's important to all of us to be able to help people right now and to be able to build a business for ourselves in this type of challenging time. It's that important for me to make sure that Miriam, right, or Dr. Sharon, or Steven, or Misty, or Shondell, or Gina, or Cassandra, that everybody sees that this is so critically important to me, and it has massive amount of value for either them or somebody that they know who could use the solution that we have to offer. That's really what it's all about, right? So that's what we do there. So that's that. Thanks for being on. Now let's just see.